Hey guys, welcome. Hello guys, welcome to another session with us at Rooftop App. And today we are going to do something very basic of a Phad painting. Now, Phad painting comes from Rajasthan and it usually used to be a scroll painting. Now, what are scrolls? Scrolls are long pieces of fabric which were, they were wrapped into like these scroll format or like a roll, and these used to be like this was the only entertainment for a lot of people earlier in the day when we didn't have TVs or music or electronic items, right? So what the artist used to do is they used to take a long piece of fabric, and of course they did a lot of different things to the fabric so that it could hold all the paint to it. And so they had to rub the fabric with a special type of a stone, and they used to apply a paste made out of maida and gond, which is the glue that you get. And I mean, they used to create the gond, which is the gond. You get these small rocks which is mixed with water, and that was mixed with the maida and a few other items to create this paste. Then they used to apply the paste to the fabric, and then they used to actually rub it with a stone so that the fabric becomes really smooth to work on. And on that, the artists used natural paints and pigments, and they also used vegetable dyes or vegetable colors that they used to make. And that's how Phad painting all started. And it was performed by someone called as Bhopa and Bhopis. Now, Bhopa and Bhopis were these dancers. So they used to go around town telling the stories of Pabuji and Dev Narayan. Now, Pabuji and Dev Narayan are the local heroes, like how in Maharashtra we have Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Just like this, the local hero for Rajasthan was Pabuji and Dev Narayan. So they used to create these long scrolls about their stories, about their heroic, encounters, etc. And there they used to have like different sections. It was like a comic book, right? It was like, let's call it a comic book of the earlier days. So in those small panels, they used to draw first, and very few colors were used, like mostly only primary colors, and like primary colors like red, yellow, and blue, and very few colors. So like when you mix primary colors, you get secondary colors. So those colors were also used. So like the face was usually in like an orange color, which was made using a little bit of yellow with very little red, and that was used for the face, whereas the jewelry remained yellow. And the dress used to have colors like blues and greens and other various colors that were made with the primary colors only. So today what we are going to do is, let's look at a very basic level where we are drawing just the face of a Phad painting, or rather a Phad man, since we have done Phad woman already. And let's see that. Let me show you. So this is our book. Here you can see this is called Artventures of Phad. So this is an elementary level, which is a very basic beginner level book, and let's go through it quickly. So it goes like this here. So you can learn a lot about these art forms. We have various art forms, and here it starts like this with the borders, with the patterns, and then you move on to smaller elements. Also, there's a story format to learn it. So now we are going to do the face today. Okay, so here it goes. Now for the face, what we are going to do is, first we are going to start making a circle. Now see, there are very few step-by-step techniques that we can show over here. So now first thing is to draw a loose circle. Now this circle doesn't really have to be an exact circle, because usually when you draw freehand, you don't really need to make it exactly the same. So here I'm loosely just moving my hand around to create a circle. I'm going to draw it slightly darker so that you can see it in the screen, but you can make it very light when you have this book with you. So you can also purchase the book from us from our website. You can check us out on Rooftop App. Okay, you can also find us on Amazon. So now I'm going to just create a midsection. So I'm just dividing the circle into 3 equal parts. So if I see, it's 3 equal parts over here. Now again, it doesn't have to be exactly equal, but it's okay if, like, you can make it a little similar, right? Now the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to create the nose somewhere in the middle. Okay, somewhere in the middle of this, we are just going to get the nose. So first thing we are going to do is we are going to start making the nose from the line that we drew on the top of the circle. I'm just going to get a slanting line coming outwards and then get it in. Alright, so this is how simple it is just to make the nose. Alright, the next part is we have to create the mouth within this bottom area over here that we've marked on the circle. So it's just a line going inwards and another line going inwards. Okay, now to get the chin a little outside, so just under this L shape that we've created right now, I'm just getting a little bit out and then going to just join a curve going backwards on this circle. Right, it's super simple. So again, let's go around with the steps again. I made a circle first, then I drew 2 lines in the circle to divide the circle into 3 equal parts, and from here I started drawing the nose. Okay, it's like an L shape, or you can just say like the letter A with a little bit of curve going downwards, and like an L shape and an L shape, or a C shape and a C shape again. And then I started drawing the bottom over here, which is the chin, with just a curve and then going backwards. Alright, so this is very, very simple. Let's move on to the next thing, which is the ears. Now again, the ears will fall in the same part, okay, as the 3 segments that we've made. So the section over here, so let's just create like a question mark or like a ear shape over here. And at the bottom, I'm just going to add a circular or a droplet shape of earring. Okay, pretty simple, keeping it very simple. And I'm just drawing a line in the center for the ear. Now to finish this, okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add quickly the neck of it. So over here, I'm just adding a neck at the bottom of the head. Now let's move ahead and see how to continue making the pagdi. Now this is what a pagdi looks like. Okay, so now let's move on. Okay, rather let's move on to the eyes and the eyebrows. Okay, now the eyebrows start somewhere a little above this line that we've made. So you're just going to take a curve like a regular eyebrow coming downwards. Okay, the next thing that we'll do is to draw the eyes. Now eyes are pretty simple and really beautiful. So they generally look like a fish shape. So like, just getting down and like a, curve going upwards. And this is what, so if you had continued this would have looked like a fish, just like this. But that's how the eye looks like. Alright, so just a curve and then a bulgy curve at the bottom, and then you can draw the eye on top, or rather the pupil on top over here like this. So let's do that. Let's add the eye and continue making this. Okay, let's move ahead and let's add the pagdi now. Now for the pagdi, what I'm going to do quickly is I'm just going to add a line from the ear. So just above the ear, I'm just going to start making a slanting line crossing the head just like this, and another one going from behind the ear and going all the way up just like this. I'm just going to do like a parallel line, or like a, just parallel lines going together just like this, going upwards. Now I'm just going to get a slant going down and join it back to my parallel lines. Alright, so this is what the start of the pagdi looks like. Now from the top, what we are going to do is we are going to create a little bit of this shape coming outwards, so slightly like a slant going up, and then you can put a curve, and then I'm going to repeat some curves all the way till the pagdi ends. So just like this, I'm going with 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so just like this, we've created the pagdi over here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the hair. So let's see how. Just add a little bit of hair towards the ear, and from just under the ear, I'm just going to place a curve and a curve, and then just draw something like this. So this is the hair. Okay, now let's move ahead and add a little bit of mustache to him. All right, so here it just goes like a curve. Now you can make the mustache in your own style that you like. Okay, so here it's a simple mustache, just so like this, it's going downwards, it's just going downwards. But here I've created a little more fancier one. Okay, you can do whichever style that you like. You can make it a little different, you can make it a thicker mustache, it's all up to you. Okay, so now let's quickly erase those extra lines that we had drawn as a guideline before we start painting this. Okay, now this same design, where all can we use this design? Now I think this design would look really cool on a tote bag, or it will also look very nice on probably a diary. If you have a diary lying around at home and you don't know what to paint on it, you can absolutely make a gone art, a Phad art man, or you can also do a Phad art lady. So yes, it's all about that. Okay, now let's move ahead and let's start painting. Now for the painting, now the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little more of details to this pagdi. Okay, so here I'm just going to create these small little patterns. Now you can add your own details to it. I'm just adding a very few details. I'm going to make this into a few lines, just like this. So you can maybe use different colors and make it very colorful, or you can use the said colors, like I told you that very few, only the primary colors and the secondary colors, you can use just that, because ideally that was used in Phad paintings. But you can go ahead and create something totally different if you like to. Okay, so now the first thing that we are going to do is I'm going to take yellow and first finish a little bit of the jewelry and the pagdi. Now today I'm going to be using poster colors, but you can go ahead and use acrylic colors or fabric colors if you're painting this on tote bags, or if you're going to make it on a t-shirt. Imagine making this on a t-shirt and like putting a very nice saying, or like something really fun that you want to add, some typography, some letters, something like that. Like it will look very nice. Okay, so I'm just going to paint all the yellow parts that I see over here. Now one thing to remember when you're using poster colors is that keep your consistency of your poster colors slightly thicker, like use very little water, and it should be like a honey consistency. Otherwise what happens is you end up with a lot of patches in your paintings, because see, a lot of us use a lot of water, and then what happens is you get a lot of patchy paintings. So to avoid that, use slightly thicker paint, but not like how you would use acrylic paints, like directly from the bottle or from your tube, but use a little bit of water to make it like a nice good consistency. And this will make sure, this will ensure that you won't have a lot of patches in your paintings. Now if you have any questions, you can ask in the comment section and we will try and reply to them. Also, if you all have any suggestions as to what painting you all want to see next, or which painting you all want to see us do, or which book you all want us to paint from, then we can absolutely do it. And you all can put it in the comments and we'll see the suggestions, and let's do something fun. So like I was telling you, in Phad paintings, these used to be scrolls, like very long scrolls which were then performed. So that was the only source of entertainment. So what happened next? Like, why did we get into painting this on smaller canvases? Obviously, when there was like a lot of, industrialization happened, and a lot of things started changing, like entertainment came along, and people stopped going for such events, or stopped going for such performances. So that's when uh, artists kind of lost their jobs, right? Because they were creating these huge paintings, and now if, like, there was no one who was a consumer who would probably buy these uh, to perform. So that's when they started shifting to smaller Phad paintings, where they started selling smaller ones, started creating day to day life. Okay, they started painting other themes apart from the local heroes, or apart from Ramayana, Mahabharat. Like, there are so many artists who are still making modern day Phad paintings, which are very interesting to watch. Uh, so there's this artist called Kalyan Joshi ji. He has created his artwork related to Corona, and, like, it's very interesting to watch, like, how these traditional art forms can be like converted into modern day paintings. Now the next step for me is to add a little bit of red in the yellow to create this shade of skin. Okay, slightly orangish, a little more towards the yellow side though, and this is the color that we are going to use for the skin tone. So with a limited palette now, another scroll painting which is very similar to this one is the one from Telangana, which is Cheryal art. Now they also use very very similar colors. It's just that, the style of drawing the faces is very different from this. Okay, the style of drawing the faces is very very different from this one, and the color scheme is absolutely the same. So one can easily get confused looking at Phad paintings and looking at Cheryal paintings. But what I could tell you is Cheryal paintings have slightly longer faces than a circular face. In Phad paintings, you will find a lot of circular images, or the nose is generally like, a circular nose, and yeah, so that's the difference that you can pick very easily when you see Phad paintings and Cheryal art. And in Cheryal art, the themes are more of day to day life. So lots of ladies working in a kitchen, or like there are images of villages and other themes. Again, they also have Mahabharata and all these different, like, all our mythological stories. But you will also find day to day life, like scenes from day to day life. And again, these were also scroll paintings which were performed. But in Cheryal, the only difference would have been they used to be performed by dancers wearing masks, rather than, the scroll paintings existed, but also they used to be performed by the dancers wearing huge masks of deities, or from the stories that they created. Now, if you have seen any of our sessions earlier, you will know that you can convert these drawings into stickers very easily. Like, we recently had a sticker making workshop with Somesh, and where he taught you how to make stickers. Now, the process is very simple. You make this and you put it on, you stick a little bit of tape behind this. Now, that tape can be a double-sided tape. Okay, so again the sequence goes like this. First we use yellow, then a little bit of orange, then we can move on to red or green, and then blue, and then finally we move ahead to using black. So right from the lighter colors, moving on to darker shades. The next color that I'm going to be using is the red color, and what I'll do is I won't add a lot of red. I'll just make sure that I add a little bit of red in the jewelry, in a few places, not everywhere though. And make sure you can keep a little bit of white as well, for a little bit of break in the colors, otherwise it's going to be too colorful. So you can even leave a little bit of it, a white shade, and then you can add a few black lines in them. I'm going to make this into red jewels. Maybe I'll alternate them with red and green. And here again I'm just going to add a little bit of red in a few of these. Not too much though, just a little bit. Now you can add any number of details that you would like. Now this is a painting where you take a little bit of black color later on and add outline to the entire painting. The next color I'm using is a little bit of green. Now I'll add a little green for the jewels again that we had left. Paintings, Phad paintings in a book or on paper, make sure that you use uh, poster colors, because those colors are more similar to the natural colors that you get, as it is slightly muddy and, like, it's a little rough, so you get the similar texture of those that you see in the original paintings. And I'm just going to alternate a little bit of green. The best part about poster colors are that they dry up really soon. You don't have to keep waiting for the paints to dry. It dries up really quickly. Now finally I'm going to use the black color for the hair and the mustache. So let's go over the hair first. And this is when the painting comes together, or rather you will be able to see it clearly. Now let's go over the entire drawing together again. It's like a recap when you're going with the black outline. I'm using a slightly thinner brush to create the entire outline of the painting. So this is a 00 brush that I'm using. The previous brush that I used to fill up all the parts was like number 4 brush, which is slightly bigger, so that you can fill up everything faster. Okay, so now whenever you're painting, make sure that you always move from your left side to the right side and from the top to the bottom. So now this is only because so that sometimes what happens is when we make a really nice painting, but we end up smudging it with our own hands. So to avoid that, always start from the top to the bottom. You can add a few more details just like this when you're painting it with the black. Make sure to join our WhatsApp community where you can share your images of whatever you've created, because we keep putting new things over there and we keep adding, or we get to see a lot of different art forms that our viewers have created. And we would love to see them. So do share it on the WhatsApp groups. So now you can see like how it's all coming together. Now moving towards the facial features. Moving towards the chin now. And there you go. You can add a few more details because I think it's looking rather empty on the pagdi. So I'll add a few more details just like this. If I get it a little closer for you to see, you can see the details just like this. Again, adding a little bit of details in the earring. Keeping it really simple, just a few lines here and there. And that's about it. Thank you so much for joining in, and see you back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Thank you.